Hey, my name is Yahoo Silverman. You've never heard of me, and that's fine. Between having the coronavirus and recently setting my world aflame, I find myself with ample free time, so I figured I'd give making a YouTube video a try. I like playing video games. Primarily long RPGs, possibly to have my brain mistake prolonged entertainment software exposure for any amount of human connection. I like making video games, and by making video games, I mean purchasing assets and utilizing my mid-range programming skills learned from the internet and to a lesser extent college to obsessively build entertainment software that I'll never finish until my brain inevitably has had enough or until I find someone or something to distract me. I don't watch as much anime as I used to, but I still do read a good amount of manga. Gintama, Chainsaw Man, One Punch Man, and for whatever reason, Nisekoi are a few of my favorites. While those are all serialized and long-running series, today I want to talk about a manga that made me look at the editor in charge of splicing together my memories as not only a liar, but a possible subjugator obsessed with ruining my days. Today we are talking about Goodbye Eri. I wrote about Goodbye Eri on my now practically defunct website on December 4th, 2022. When I review something, I tend to focus more on how it made me feel and encourage you to experience it and examine whether or not you felt the same way. This is why that piece, rather than strictly reviewing the manga, is about how Goodbye Eri pushed me toward an honest re-examination of my past relationships and the recognition of my terminal victim syndrome. Taught me to actually like the film 500 Days of Summer. So I guess if we are being technical here, I may be too self-obsessed to ever review anything properly. Okay, so here's a brief rundown of things you probably already know. Goodbye Eri, or Sayonara Eri if you tend to refer to My Hero Academia as Boku no Academia, is a one-shot created by Tatsuki Fujimoto. It was released in April of 2022 on the Shonen Jump Plus website, then published in July of that year. Tatsuki Fujimoto is a 31-year-old mangaka and is the madman responsible for Fire Punch, Don't Look Back, Just Listen to the Song, and Chainsaw Man. If you haven't read all of those, I highly encourage you to do so. Don't Look Back and Just Listen to the Song, like Goodbye Eri, are both one-shots and available alongside Chainsaw Man on the Shonen Jump app, while Fire Punch is an insane trip and not available on the app, but I'm sure you could find a way to read all of it. Our story begins with Yuta receiving a smartphone on his 12th birthday. The story is primarily shown through the lenses of cameras, in this case, the camera of Yuta's new smartphone. Within the turn of a page, we go from happy birthday to Yuta's mother saying, "You know how I could die from my illness. How does that make you feel?" Yuta's mother asks that he record the rest of her life. According to the footage we are shown, she wants him to do this to further help remember her even when she's gone. We spend the next 12 pages bearing witness to the final days of Yuta's mother. Footage of a loving and kind mother, stray cats, mom and dad watching TV, tasty meals being prepared, dad crying, nasty scrapes, less enticing meals being prepared, dad crying. Then finally, sitting in a parked car in front of a hospital, dad asks on behalf of mom that you film her final breath. This request pushes Yuta away from his father, away from the camera, and away from the hospital. Before you see, this whole time, the footage we'd been watching was a part of a carefully edited student film of Yuta's. Nobody in the crowd of classmates seemed to have unironically enjoyed Dead Explosion Mother. we stand idly by as we see Yuta getting scolded for his inappropriate film. Everyone deals with grief differently. Those in charge and those in his class felt he dealt with it too differently. Cut to Yuta recording some iteration of a last will and testament blended with an S-word vlog. If you've ever had someone judge your art or the way that you deal with trauma negatively, then perhaps this resonates with you. Yuta makes his way to the roof of a hospital, and as he focuses on the ground several stories below, he hears, "You gonna jump?" This is where we meet her, Eri. She is not like other students in the sense that she did not hate Yuta's film Dead Explosion Mother. Eri forcefully encourages Yuta to follow her to an abandoned part of the hospital where there is a couch and projectors set up. She loves good movies and finds the average viewer to be, for lack of a better term, nothing but a bunch of filthy casuals. Eri claims to see potential in Yuta as a future filmmaker and demands that over the next year they watch loads of movies together in the hopes of unlocking his true potential as a filmmaker. And so they watch film after film after film. Yuta, now with a changed outlook on life, makes another video within the same framing as his previous S-word vlog, only now he refers to life as beautiful, bright, and pure. I have certainly been pulled out of depression after meeting someone I'm into, and I ride that wave to the next shore of depression. And looking at my past work, it is obvious as to whether I was wave-bound or beached. As I lie here in the sand, I feel you, Yuta. The two continued to absorb as many films as their time together would allow. Eri encouraged Yuta to write a new script, a rematch at next year's film festival. They began filming their new film featuring Eri and Yuta's father until during one session, Eri collapses. Upon visiting her in the hospital, we find that she, like Yuta's mother, is sick with the kind of illness that does not get better and that her death is imminent. She makes the same request that Yuta's mother made not long ago. Film me until I'm dead. This, obviously, does not sit well with Yuta. That is a strange request to get even once in your life, let alone twice in 1 year. We find ourselves seeing Yuta and his father speaking in Yuta's room. It's at this point where this manga went from an interesting piece by a popular creator to a manga I have not shut up about for nearly 18 months now. You see, while Yuta did not record his loving mother's final moments, his father did, and this is where I took most of the meaning from. For now, we get to see his real mother, not the one she wanted us to remember, not the one that was edited into that film, the one that was verbally, physically, and emotionally abusive. But had we only ever seen Yuta's footage, we would have never known that. And now it is time to get off track a bit. Have you ever been through a breakup that was for the best? The editor's string puller inside of your brain in charge of dropboxing fully edited videos into our hippocampuses seems to bear a grudge against us. You see, at least for me, I won't remember the bad things, at least not without intentionally doing so. The film that autoplays in my mind is that of laughing, plan making, and falling for each other, but what about the Snyder cut of memories? The film that shows the whole thing. Show me the painful bits. Show me the anxiety attacks. Show me the reason why there is no longer an us. That is what Goodbye Eri made me realize about myself. Likely because I never wanted to confront it before, because being sad can be pretty comfortable, because once you're lying on the floor, you don't have to worry about falling down anymore. I won't completely spoil the ending of the manga because Tatsuki Fujimoto, in his normal fashion, tends to end things in an odd and not so predictable way, and I really want more people to read it. Maybe I interpreted the whole thing wrong. I've read other reviews that say this story is about the film industry and editing or something. That's not entirely how art works, to me at least though. If you take meaning from something and it's not in a Catcher in the Rye John Lennon kind of fashion, then you shouldn't undo it for the sake of being correct. One of my least favorite things I've heard from my pill-prescribing, glasses-wearing psychiatrist is, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Maybe that applies here, I don't know. I don't have insurance, so I don't see the best doctors. To wrap everything up, Goodbye Yeti made me take a harder look not at the content of memories, but at the lack of context. Plenty of my vocabulary comes from my education and books I've digested through my eyeballs, but there's a large portion that is primarily early 2000s video game references. I love the Metal Gear Solid series, and 4 is underrated. I'm currently in a strange state while writing and reading this. Partially from running a high temperature due to consuming the most popular COVID strand available, but also because I've put myself through a lot lately and there are situations that I will never make memories with again. And while my brain may be constantly playing a reel of the greatest hits in spite of my wishes, reading Goodbye Yeti reminded me that sometimes your brain is just a liar.